Hi Phil, this is a short video for you so that you can do this on Aria. You might be able to teach her to do it herself, but in the beginning, obviously, it's better for you to do it with her. And the others that I've sent, maybe you can go through them with her until she knows them well. So this one is for the sub-occipital muscles at the back of the skull. So if you were to look up at the ceiling, and dig your finger into the back of your skull, the vertebra that you can feel is C2, cervical 2. C1 is actually up inside the skull. It's sort of level with the back of the mouth. Okay, so where the brain stem is, the vagal nerve comes straight into the suboccipital region. And you can have huge influence. It's going to, massaging these muscles is going to increase your blood supply to the brain. It's going to release compression on the nerves to the brain. It's going to regulate your heart rate, regulate your breathing, bring your blood pressure down, make you feel calmer and more happy, and more oxygen in the bloodstream. There's a whole load. There's a list of about 20 things that happens when you do this release. So the actual anatomy, so you've got C1, C2, very specifically the suboccipital stabilized C1 and C2. So I've got a picture here so you can look at it. So it's called the suboccipital triangle. So you've got muscles that run, I'm trying to get the light off of the picture. You've got muscles that run along the rim of the skull in a horizontal plane. You've got muscles that run along the processes vertically of C1 and C2. And then you've got diagonal muscles that go from C2 to the mastoid process behind the ear. So if you feel, if you feel with your hand at the back of your neck, either side, you can feel there's an indentation there. So above that is your horizontal occipital muscles. If you come down the vertebra, 2 vertebrae there, that's your vertical ones. And then if you go from there to the back of the ear, you've got that triangle there. So starting with the parallel ones, the ones that run horizontally, just get one finger, or maybe 2 fingers, above the rim of the skull, sort of from the mastoid process inwards, and just sort of rub inwards and outwards with your fingers and just feel the tone of the muscle. You can often tell if the vagal nerves are out of balance simply by pulling on your ears. This is a quick test. You can feel usually that one ear is a bit stiffer. Also, if you breathe through the nostrils, one side will be stronger than the other, so that denotes there's a more of an imbalance on the stronger side. Should be equal in both nostrils. If you look at the neck, so I see my neck's a little bit raised on this side, so that would show that this side, this ear and this sternocleidomastoid is on the side that's out of balance. You can feel your trapezius as well if that's stiffer on one side than the other. So it usually all ties in with that side that's more out of balance. There's a few other tests, but they're the sort of simple, straightforward, quick ones. So you're going to get your 2 fingers and you're going to glide along the muscle, the deep muscle that's just above the rim of the skull, and try and determine if it glides in one direction and it's stiffer in the other. So one way the fingers will slide and glide, and the other way you'll hit resistance like a roadblock where there's blockage in the fascial system here. So as you find your roadblocks, for me it's outwards today, you're gliding in, it goes quickly, but as you come out, you sort of feel like it sticks. Then stay on that point where it feels stuck and just gentle pressure. You don't need to do anything more than that, just gently press. And the pressure will send a message through the nervous system into the brain to sort of get the brain to take notice of these muscles and to get them to relax. So this is working on the nervous system. It's not so much working on the myofascial system. So it's a neural release. And when you do this one, you can get the sigh, the swallow, the yawn, just like you can with the others. And then when you feel like you have had the sigh, the swallow, the yawn, or if you feel like the muscle's starting to get softer, then just finish with a little bit of a rub. So try the other side. So you're just gliding your fingers. You want to feel the skin. So you want to feel the skin moving over the deeper fascia and muscle that's underneath of it. So you're creating that glide, 2 fingers, and you're trying to determine, is it smoother going in or does it stick coming out, or vice versa? So find the direction that seems a little bit more resistant, and just find that roadblock, find where it sticks, and just stay in that point and just gently press. So it's firm, but it's gentle. And you're just waiting. You give yourself a good 20 seconds or so. You get the sigh, the swallow, the yawn, then you know that you've definitely sent that message through to the brain. So it's a natural reflex, all part of the polyvagal system, the yawning, the sighing, the swallowing, more saliva in the mouth. So when you feel like you've got a little bit of softness in the muscle now, it's yielded a little bit, you just do your little rub. So as you get really good at that, you could sort of do it both at the same time. If none of that makes much sense to you, you can just do an oppositional frictional rub inwards and outwards. So that's massaging the muscles. So it's going to relax the muscles. It's going to stimulate the blood supply to the brain stem. It's going to bring you into that that polyvagal parasympathetic nervous state, rather than your fight and flight, or even worse than that is when you sort of go into paralysis. Okay, so then you've got the muscles that run along the sides of the vertebra. So if you look up at the skull, you can feel C2. You just do a little oppositional rub here. So you could do this for Aria, and she'd probably find this is really lovely and nice and relaxing. And the same thing, as you practice this, you could do one side and you could figure out which side is a little bit more blocked and press into that blockage. So single side is a bit easier for you to sort of assimilate the information that's coming back to the brain. But once you get good at it, you can do it with both at the same time. So usually 20 to 30 seconds is enough. And then from where you are, C2, diagonally up towards your mastoid process, you've got those diagonal muscles. So again, you can do the frictional rub. It's quite nice to hold the skull and do these with your thumbs. So if you've got her head in your hands, you could use your thumbs and just work through these muscles. If you feel any resistance, just gently press into it and just wait 20, 30 seconds and then go again. Okay. Another thing you can do is you could get, hang on a minute. You can get 2 balls in a sock with a bit of a space in between, and then she could just lie on them and she could just sort of gently massage these muscles herself. And if you've got the ball in the sock, then you can just hold the ball and it stops them escaping. I've got a little elastic band there, so it keeps the balls pretty much where I want them. So it's a bit like a homemade peanut. So that's the sub-occipital release. So if you just have a little look at that. And the book that you need to get, if you want to read up on this, hang on. It's a really good book. So it's the Accessing the Healing Power of the Vagal Nerve by Stanley Rosenberg. So maybe get it from the library, and it's a really good read. And it's got all the exercises in there as well. I'm just fast tracking you so that you can get straight into this. So I'll stop this here, and I'm going to do one more for Aria in the studio.